Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Joseph Mazzola joining us here again, the founder of Dreamscape Aerials, based out of Long Island, New York, serving the tri-state area with his amazing drones and providing so much work, whether it's TV, film, marketing, for real estate, construction. He does it all, and you got to check out, all the drones because this is what he does. He's well educated, he's trained, and he also is helping so many people down this career path as well. Welcome to the show today. How are you?
Hey, Jill. Thanks for having me back. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. So tell us a little bit more about Dreamscape Aerials and what you do specifically so our listeners could get to know you for the new ones out there today.
For sure. For all the new listeners tuning in, my name's Joseph Mazzola. I'm the founder and chief operator of Dreamscape Aerials LLC. We're a professional drone service provider based in New York, servicing the greater tri-state area, but available nationally, maybe even globally if the project is right.
Yeah.
I consider myself a bit of a generalist. I work across a variety of industries, and I'm currently in talks to perform a number of different projects. Most recently, landed another racing opportunity with a local race organizer. Also in talks to consult for a local township that wants to incorporate drones into their public safety and to potentially influence legislation on a local level. So very excited about that. And just trying to keep the momentum up. Entrepreneurship isn't always easy, but I really love what I do. And this is such an emergent industry that I'm really trying to make a name for myself here.
Beautiful. And you already are. Tell us the website and your Instagram page so we can check out some of your work.
Right. That's www.dreamscapeaerials.com, or you can find us on social media. Search at Dreamscape_aerials.
Perfect. And, people always talking about the great service and results. David Grossman from the Compass Group saying you went above and beyond to get me aerial photography with less than 24-hour notice. We will use them again. There's real term. Elizabeth Schaefer says professionalism in all aspects of a drone aerial project, communication, delivery. I work for a Siri firm and that needed drone aerials for property with a quick turnaround. Joe, she says you're very enthusiastic, great to work with. Photos quite crisp and impressive. Looking forward to working with you all again. So, yeah, you're helping realtors out there. You're helping so many different people. You do so many sporting events, concerts, and even, movies and TV projects. So, what are you working on today? I know you wanted to kind of talk about some of the current projects.
Thank you. Yeah, so I just received a request earlier to support the Queens County Farm Museum. They're looking to get some shots of their corn
My
maze
aunt
and
used to work there,
no
actually.
kidding.
Yeah,
Oh,
she
wow.
did. Yeah. Queens
Go
County
figure.
Farm.
I've
Oh, my
never
goodness.
been. Yeah, I'm excited to participate. They reached out to me earlier today, and hopefully we can set up a shoot for next week once this weather passes, which also leads to a pretty interesting story and development in the drone industry. Just the other day, dealing with the effects of Hurricane Debbie, New York City Police Department began utilizing drones in a very interesting fashion. They were equipped with loudspeakers and
Mm-hmm.
patrolled neighborhoods, issuing emergency warnings for the flash floods that were impending. And I think this is a trend we're going to see much more frequently, especially in terms of emergency and disaster response. A lot of
Okay.
people in this field end up being deployed, for insurance purposes to assess damages. But this sort of preemptive action to alert residents is also a very benevolent usage of drones. And it ties into something a lot of operators in the field, like myself, believe in, which is using drones for good.
Wow, this is exciting. Oh my goodness. I didn't even think about that. The fall's coming up, these fall festivals, and like even out east on Eastern Long Island. I mean, that's a great marketing tool. My goodness, you can get all those great shots of the pumpkin fields, the pig races. They have like all the barn rides and never thought about that as well. That's great. Well, congrats
There's
on
so
the
many. Yeah, I try not to talk the contact's head off, but there's
uh-huh.
even more capabilities we can offer too from mapping projects where
Okay.
you simply can't fly at a legally high enough altitude to get one comprehensive image of the property. But drones can be used to perform photogrammetry, where hundreds of images are stitched together to create one holistic image. And from that, you can get accurate measurements and data related to your landscape and site. You can even assess crop health. So we do see that being very useful, particularly in
Wow.
agriculture.
Wait, can you tell me the word you just taught me that I forgot? Grammetrometry,
Photogrammetry.
photogram. I've never heard. I'm running down.
It's pretty new.
Photogrammetry. I've never heard of this. So I always make notes when I talk a lot of times and I want to go look back at what that is. Oh my gosh.
Well, we have a couple episodes together left, so
Okay.
maybe on one of these I can invite a fellow colleague who lives up in Albany, also
Oh,
where I went to school, and he's a 3D modeling expert. His whole
wow.
career is photogrammetry and creating super accurate, detailed maps and models to provide clients. It's useful not only for these on-site assessments, but for historical preservation. So, as buildings become decrepit or run down, but it's historically significant, this is
Wow.
also a great way to preserve them for the future.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Cool.
Of
Wow.
course.
Anything else that's new and upcoming?
What else? I am currently putting out some feelers for some new projects, just trying to work on my own sales pipeline myself. In terms of current trends, the Drone for First Responders Act is also trending in the news. Now, this is something that sounds like it has a good intention, but it's really a motive to blacklist Chinese drones and advocate for American built drones, which is definitely
Hmm.
a good thing, but there's a little bit of a monopoly and stranglehold on the market right now. As you may know, DJI is the lead provider, and I would say 95% of my fleet is all DJI products. So if
Okay.
this ban were to pass, which is currently being led by Rick Scott, a Republican advocate out of Florida, these drones would be grounded, and all the
What?
money that law enforcement agencies and municipal services have put into this will just become a sunk cost. And first responders themselves are actually pushing back against this. They see the value. It's helping save lives. It's responding to crimes faster. And you'll have to go with a cheaper, or sorry, not cheaper, more expensive and less useful alternative. So
Wait,
I would
I
say the
didn't.
bulk of the drone industry as a whole is rather against it.
So I didn't hear. I don't know anything about this. Bring me back to life here. Start off with so this guy, Republican from Florida. Why is he going after? What's the principle behind it? What is he saying that's
So the
wrong with it?
initiative's been in place for a while now. It's primarily headed by Skydia, which is an American drone manufacturer. They
Okay.
produce great drones, but they also come with a pretty hefty price tag. Meanwhile, the global leader in drones is DJI.
DJI. Okay, got
They
it.
have drones out there like the Mavic 3. And uh, basically, the Countering Chinese Drones Act is circulating Congress. It was supposed to be a part of the National Defense Authorization Act, which recently passed, but that verbiage was left out of it. Now, an amendment is being proposed to include the Countering Chinese Drones Act, and that may bring this back to fruition. It could be some time before it goes
Wow.
into effect, but it does have us all kind of cautiously waiting to see what happens.
Oh my gosh, that is a lot. I had no idea. Thanks for informing me. That affects everything and
Really
everyone.
interesting.
That's your whole business.
Exactly. And, we just passed the 4-year anniversary of starting Dreamscape Aerials. I love what I do. I love this territory, and just getting involved in so many different ways to make a difference has been great.
Oh my gosh. Well, I hope it continues and it goes the
Thank you.
way that you want. And oh my gosh. Wow. And, by the way, speaking of drones, people might not understand that there are different drones out there. You're not flying the drone that I can order on Amazon today. Could you just share a little bit about your equipment and, why to hire a professional in this field, not
Sure.
hire your neighbor's son who has the one that's from Amazon?
Right. Well, yes, you could get some professional enterprise grade
Hmm.
drones off of Amazon, but they will primarily be DJI. That said, you really want to rely on a licensed professional, particularly someone with drone insurance too.
Oh,
And that's what we offer. Right now, I'm taking the opportunity to do a little bit of internal refinement, revamp the website, provide a bit more detail, some work samples, actually adding a section for this podcast as well and a future blog.
awesome.
But yeah, the benefits of going with a skilled operator is that they're going to know the proper composition, the proper techniques to get the data you're interested in getting, or other applications, whether it be drone spraying to clean windows or emergency response. What else can I say about it?
And now, say you're hired to do someone's, just say it's a real estate project. There's a new strip mall coming to Long Island, and you're in the process of, doing the befores, the afters, and you're up there and you're filming. Now, are you also responsible? Is it part of your job to edit that all together, or is that you bring to somebody else?
Oftentimes, yes, I do charge for in-house production services
Okay.
as an additional editorial fee. And you could check out our YouTube, Dreamscape Aerials. You'll see a lot of handcrafted work. Most recently, I put together a promotion for the cross raising of St. Barton Armenian Cathedral, which is over on 34th and 2nd in New York
Yeah.
City. Probably my favorite project to have worked in New York thus far. And that was all cinematic footage. We had like the
Wow.
most beautiful sunset for it. And it was very special to just be a part of. That said, I do work with producers and other colleagues that do this more professionally and are
Yeah.
dedicated to it. So we are a full in-house service where if you have this kind of scope, we have a team to follow through on it for you.
Some. This is exciting. And I know just a few weeks ago you were out east, well, kind of where I live, out east, Patchogue, right? You did that festival, which
That's
went
right.
great, you said. And what other things are happening in the local area? Is there any more upcoming concerts, shows? I was thinking about you because my friend was at City Field last night for the concert, and he was like, he said drones were flying over, and I was like, oh, I wonder if it's the guy I'm talking to tomorrow.
Oh
At the
boy.
concert. But that's like City Field. I'm sure they have their own restrictions. Plus, it's near LaGuardia
For
Airport, so there's probably,
sure.
I don't know who was doing that, but I was like, ah,
I can definitely speak from experience. You may have an FAA approval, but always make sure you have the permission to fly at the location you're going to. As part of the New York City permitting process, you often have to obtain a permission letter from the property owner, which is something I'm working on right now. I was requested to do a project in Times Square on their
oh
major
wow,
vertical billboard, One Times Square.
okay,
However, due to FAA delays in terms of processing time, we're probably just going to have to perform that shoot via
okay,
ground because it's just too quick of a turnaround that the client needs. That said, there's another project in New York City I'll be returning to for a client on the Upper East Side, kind of like my background here. So, there's projects coming in. I'm just trying to be a bit more consistent and maintaining this entrepreneurship. So, never a dull moment.
oh my gosh, amazing. And let's point out on your website, did you already start changing it up, the
A little
homepage?
bit. So
Okay,
yes, you'll see the blog section on there
yeah,
where I've added the PBN series that we're currently doing.
mm-hmm,
I also
yep,
have intentions to roll out a blog where I'll post articles. I actually used to do a bit of blog work in the past for a company called Soul Doctors, where I
mm-hmm,
blended my background in psychology with, modern trends. So I'm used to the whole article journalistic style, and I think that could be useful for, search engine optimization, but also to help people in the area learn how to navigate the New York City permitting process, other how to's, and that sort of thing. But of course, there's also the education side. As the director of learning and development at Aerial Advantage Academy, we are trying to promote our remote pilot program and the drone boot camp a bit further. Remote Pilot's a 3-day training program that helps people prepare for the Part 107 exam and gives them a strong foundation to start flying drones right out of the gate. Whereas our boot camp is a 1-day delivery, primarily geared toward high schools, college level, where we also bring in our drone soccer arena. So people get to fly drones in this contained environment and in a gamified way. So very exciting stuff. And school will be back in before you know it. So
I
got that
know.
to look forward to.
And the holidays in your store, right? Because you also sell amazing artwork, the pictures that you take, right? And often the
Yes.
products, right? There's the coffee cups, the calendars, and I saw the I look because you're from Northport, right? The golden one, what was it called? The Stay Gold.
Oh yeah, that was an earlier shot of mine. But
Yes.
yes, we work with online vendors to create custom prints and canvases. So I'm always
Mhm.
relisting some new artwork on there. Also have a shot glass. It says "Don't drink and drone" on it. Very important. But yeah, constantly updating the store, trying to make little improvements and keep building the brand. So it's very exciting.
And how did you come up with the title of the company, by the way? I forgot that story.
I always joke that Dronezilla was taken, but it was just something. I toyed with a bunch of different names, tried to see what domains were available, and this
Hmm.
stuck out because it has a bit of an artistic edge,
Okay.
and aerials is a common trend in the drone industry. That said, I hope that's what clients can expect when they come to us as a provider to create aerial artistry for them, not only meeting their goals, but creating a unique piece of art and something they can cherish.
Oh, beautiful. All right. Well, here we are, fall's here, right? It's coming around the corner, like you mentioned that fall, the Queens County Farm. What other projects usually do you start working on now come fall to winter? What normally are the trends? I mean, you're still out, are you still able to fly a drone in the snow? Like, tell me how the
Right.
weather affects the drone too.
You can. And of course, the extremes will always affect a drone. In the summer, we have to worry about overheatings. Nobody wants to start a battery fire, especially if it's electrically driven. So in the winter, you face unique challenges as well. And a lot of client opportunities kind of dissipate. They really want the spring, summer, and fall to be like, the beautiful landscapes. But I think winter has its own unique times too. That said, I really want to double down on educational opportunities and training and consulting in this field while that work may slow down. However, I actually just received a request to work in Southern California, inspecting distribution lines, other industrial assets, and that's something I might look into soon. That said, fret not. In New York, we have a network of professional drone operators that work for Dreamscape Aerials on a contractor basis. So even if I'm not here, you have a trusted team to help fulfill any projects that may be on the horizon.
Sweet. Remind us how we can reach out to you again.
www.dreamscapeaerials.com. You can call me directly at 631-645-7596 or visit us on social media at dreamscape_aerials.
We still have more time together. I just like putting that out there.
Awesome.
People tuning in halfway, they're like, wait, what's going on? Well, actually, more than halfway, but it's always good to reset. And what other things did you want to make sure we talk about for today? So we talked about what's happening in the news, as you mentioned. And is there any like things that are people like signing like petitions online? Is there stuff for like going on like that, or what's the process?
Yes. So you can visit the Drone Advocacy Alliance
Okay.
to see how you can get in touch with your representative. I think they have a method in place where you'll search your zip code and they'll put you
Mm-hmm.
in touch with the senator, even a scripted email to send
Mm-hmm.
and make your voice heard, which I think is a great thing. And it's the only way we're going to see real change enacted. But this industry is so volatile, who knows where it'll go. I'm just
Yeah.
excited to be a part of it. There's so many other things we'd like to eventually do. Personally, if I had the venture capital, I'd love to start a light show here on Long Island or for New York, traveling, but that does take a little bit of investment to begin with. So with the means we have right now, we're doing a lot of interesting and different sorts of projects, and it's really nice to specialize in so many different areas.
Speaking of the light show, I don't know if you've gotten the account yet, or maybe you could try, but when the Jones Beach light show comes to town, do they have their own people or how do they do that? Because I've seen
I've
aerial
reached out
shots of that.
before. So something I'd like to show
Sure.
you if we have a little bit of time
Sure. Go
left
ahead.
is one light show I did. Not a light show as in drones flying
I
and
know.
creating animation,
Yes.
but rather an installation. I
Sure.
did one for a company called Luminosity back around the holidays. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick.
Sure. Awesome. What is Luminosity? What type of light company?
They are, they do
Yeah.
art installations where they'll set up a whole venue. This one was at Eisenhower Park, for
Okay.
example. Well, it's probably easier to show rather than tell. So let me
Yeah.
just share my screen real quick.
No problem.
Let me know if you can see this.
Here it goes. Starting to share. Double click for you. And
I'm going to turn the
okay.
audio off on it, though.
You got it.
Oops. So here, this is a whole walking tour throughout the park.
Wow.
This is their little Alice in Wonderland section. And this was filmed entirely on a DJI Avata FPV drone. It's a little tricky to fly at night, but so cool of an environment and a very
Wow.
unique way for them to promote their brand.
Oh my God, that's beautiful. That is so cool. Is that coming back?
I sure hope so. Probably in the November, December timeframe.
Wow.
They're independently owned too, so it was really great to partner up with them and, create this kind of exposure. As you can see, of course, highlighting
Aw.
Christmas.
Oh my goodness. So pretty.
It's the way to navigate. There's a lot of thin wires here. It took a
I'm gonna
lot of,
say, did you hit anything?
I did, but I didn't go down and those
Good.
clips didn't make the final cut.
Got it.
But still, one of the better unique experiences I've had the opportunity to film.
Beautiful work. Wow.
Talk about splitting the gap.
Yeah, because how do you see in the dark?
You do your best. A little bit of post-production to enhance the brightness and everything.
Hence the insurance policy too, just in case. But
Yeah.
like you're flying around like Montauk Lighthouse. Like, do you have like there's a certain distance I'm sure you have to remain from it, right? Like what was like when you
Oftentimes, yeah. So especially with when I started out inspecting cell phone towers, you'll get a response on the screen of how far you are away from an obstacle or a subject. And we always had to maintain at least like a 20-foot standoff when we were inspecting cell phone towers. But that was perfect for the client to get the data they needed. And you can automate flights like that, which
so like
definitely
when
helps.
you got hired like to shoot like near the Montauk Lighthouse, like do you need a permit for that or no? You're saying just New York City, it's a little
You
more.
do. Nope.
Yeah.
State parks require permits as well. We
Ah,
recently got one for Rockefeller State Park and had the opportunity to do a clothing promotion in collaboration with the MLB. So that was
awesome.
thrilled to be a part of too.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for being here and thank you for informing me. I'm going to look more into this DGI case. And what's the Republican's name in Florida?
Rick Scott.
Rick Scott. Thank you. Going to Google him too. And you taught me that word today that I wrote down that I can't find, but I have it.
Photogrammetry, right? Yeah, it's a mouthful. And maybe if we have a little bit of time here, I'd love to show you what they create.
Sure. Go ahead. Bring it up.
We actually did one for the music festival 2 years ago because Shorefront Park in Patchogue had been renovated.
Okay.
And that whole new landscape was captured via drone for them to help with the setup.
There you go. Oh, the three. Yes.
This,
Ah,
this is maybe 20 to 30 acres of property, about 700 photos stitched together. And you can see here the way the properties, the concert grounds are laid out. So for the subsequent festival, it was much easier for them to figure out where vendor tents would go, how the stage would be, and where it all fits into the new shoreline here.
wow. That is awesome. Thank you for teaching me that. And hopefully we can talk more about that too next time if you get someone on. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. One more time, Dreamscape Aerials. How do we find you, Joseph?
www.dreamscapeaerials.com, at dreamscape_aerials on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all that good stuff.
And I'm loving the logo, by the way. And the background, by the way, shot by you. Where is that exactly taken from?
That is overlooking the northeastern corner of Central Park from the Upper East Side.
Beautiful shot. Thank you so much. Have a great day,
Thank you.
Joseph. And we'll chat next
Thanks, Joe.
week.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.